in a ball on my kitchen floor, leaning against my cabinets, my head in my hands, trying to catch my breath as the weight of the world pressed against me. See, I was new to my community, and I had been working all summer to prepare to launch an after-school program for at-risk teens at my local high school. This program would serve girls who had been identified by their teachers or counselors as having academic, social, or home life challenges. And 2 days before the program was scheduled to begin, I was busy having an identity crisis. Why? Well, I stand here in front of you, and you can make some assumptions about me. You could rightfully guess that I am a white, college-educated woman who grew up in an upper-middle-class family with a stay-at-home mom. But what you can't guess by looking at me is that the majority of my community does not reflect this profile. See, I am from St. Louis, Missouri. That's right. That's right. And if you're not from St. Louis, I am so sorry, but I'm sure you've heard of us before. And our Cardinals baseball team, and our Stanley Cup champion, St. Louis Blues! Let's go Blues! Right? Let's go Blues, that's right. So, maybe you've also heard of us for our Ferguson protests and the attention that they brought to the extreme racial tension in our community. And maybe you look at a picture like this of a massive crowd gathered at the site of Michael Brown's death. And you think that maybe you can understand how this might happen. But let me take a minute to give you just a little bit of backstory on this photo and why I'm crumpled in a ball on my kitchen floor. See, St. Louis is the 5th most geographically segregated city in America because of historical discrimination. Things like housing redlining or zoning laws or predatory lending targeting African Americans, things that ultimately limited where Black people could buy their homes. And you fast forward 50 years, and you get a racial divide in our community that looks like this still today. And this map shows us a concentration of race and wealth. See, the green dots represent the African American population, and also, not coincidentally, the areas of St. Louis that have lower land value, less taxes for education, and less access to food. And you can begin to understand why the median household income for African Americans is 10 times less than that of white Americans. Why 1 in every 4 Black children won't graduate from high school. Why a Black child is 6.5 times more likely to wind up incarcerated than a white child. Why Black children are 14 times more likely than their white counterparts to die of gun homicide. And all of this racial disparity, it bubbles up one hot August afternoon in Ferguson, Missouri, and a group of people have to stand up and let the world know that the cards are stacked against them, and this is not fair. But what does that have to do with me? Well, my husband and I are called to plant a church just 5 miles south of Ferguson, Missouri, in a predominantly African-American community. And we were excited about the opportunity to plant a church in a community that reflected the racial diversity of our own family. But as we began to get to know our community, we began to feel the gravity of Ephesians 2. That the cross has destroyed the dividing wall between races, and that there is now one new humanity in Jesus. And if we are called to reach our community with the gospel, the good news of Jesus' death and resurrection, then we are also called to bring racial reconciliation to our community. See, in Jesus, we have the reconciliation that St. Louis is literally burning itself down to find. So you see, in that moment on my kitchen floor, I had simply realized how inadequate I was for the task at hand. I'm a fraud. I'm not qualified for this. I am supposed to plan and create this program that will help these girls when I can't even pretend to understand their lived experience. I have no real world guidance to offer them on their own lived experience. So what am I going to do? I'm supposed to have it all together. I'm supposed to be the leader, and here I was second guessing everything. Y'all, I was a hot mess. So what am I going to do? Well, after a screaming match with God, which, by the way, he's totally okay with, and he'll still love you afterwards. But after a screaming match with God, I came to the conclusion that I basically had two choices. I could either go grab my wallet and take a shopping trip to City Gear and get some new threads and spend the next 48 hours of my life digesting the Urban Dictionary, or I could be real with myself and just tell these girls who I was. I could either try really hard to pretend, or I could do what seemed even harder in that moment and be real. Just me. Without a mask or a show or facade. But could I really do that? I mean, what exactly would that look like? I just walk in on day one of the program and be like, "Hi guys, my name's Miss Ashley. I'm so glad you're here. I just want to let you know that I'm not an expert on your situation, and I actually don't have any answers because I've never walked in your shoes, but be sure you come back next week because it's going to be amazing." What? What if they laughed at me? What if they hated me? What if they left and never came back? What if I lost